Okay, so it's a video from gameranx, and they have like a top 10 list or something. It's all 50 minutes. We're gonna watch it. We're gonna see what it is about.
With Doom: The Dark Ages releasing right around.
Can I put a marker or something? All right, hold on. All right, let's watch it, guys.
With Doom: The Dark Ages releasing right around the corner,
oh my God, I'm so excited
to know about this one. It's not just another Doom. It's a bit more complicated than that. So we're looking at all the previews, official trailers, announcements, information, just cobbling everything.
I am really excited about this.
10 things you need to know before Doom: Dark Ages releases.
Look at Doom guy. He looks
10,
so good.
In Doom Eternal, you were like a fighter jet, and in Doom: The Dark Ages, you're essentially a tank. This is a new Doom game, and they're changing the formula significantly. So Doom Eternal, like we said, was extremely fast. Arguably too fast for some players to handle, but your movement speed was lightning quick. Enemies attacked relentlessly, and really constant forward movement was always.
I remember these guys. These guys were up in the ass.
It was so fast and systems based. There were the guns, sure, but then you had to like, double and triple.
Oh my God, I can't wait!
Flame belch, the blood punch, gory kills for the health and the ammo. You're managing and juggling all these resources and enemy weaknesses. On top of that, it's a lot to keep track.
Yep, it was.
Now, whether they're listening to complaints or just felt like they couldn't evolve Eternal's formula any further, like either way, id Software has.
By the way, what is with this guy's aim
here with the Dark Ages and completely, seemingly revamped how the game actually plays. It looks like a top-to-bottom rework that seems like it's going to play significantly different from the last game. So movement is slower and heavier.
That is one of the coolest things, like throwing the shield out and like stopping an attack or countering and stuff. I can't wait till I am in it and just seeing if I can react as quickly as I am thinking I will be, right? I haven't played a shooter in a minute. The only shooter I played, I guess, was Deep Rock Galactic recently, and that's not really like a shooter game, right? I mean, you shoot shit, but it's not like a competitive shooter or like a Twitch shooter or nothing like that. So I am very, very, very pumped to play Dark Ages, Doom: The Dark Ages, and come back to this, franchise. I feel like Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal were one of my top kind of like back to basics kind of shooter games, right? I really enjoy them. And I'm very, very much looking forward to this new one.
There's much more of a weight to how you do things in this compared to, the frictionless hyperspeed of Doom Eternal. Jumping looks a lot heavier, so there's less emphasis on platforming and more of a focus on standing your ground and fighting. When Doom Eternal was announced, the developers said this themselves, and looking at the gameplay we've seen released officially, yeah, seems like that's the case. Like, overall movement looks slower and more deliberate, and enemy...
They say movement looks slower. I think this movement looks just as fast. I guess it's because I'm not behind the keyboard right now. Once I'm behind the keyboard, we can be the judge of that.
These are the same way. Their attacks aren't coming out faster than you can see them.
Yo,
the game
look at that.
gives you much more time to see and react to enemy projectiles and attacks so that you can respond through one of the Dark Ages' biggest changes to the Doom formula, the Shieldsaw. So now at number 9, it seems like the plague of the parry system is infesting every game genre on the planet. No one is safe from the parry thing, not even Doom Guy. The Shieldsaw is the
parrying is so good.
Of how this game is very like a different beast compared to the previous Doom games. This thing looks like it totally changes the formula. So it seems like with a single button, you can block attacks, parry enemy assaults, and deflect projectiles. Oh, yeah, and you can also throw the thing like a projectile, and it can embed itself in enemies.
Is that a Lionel?
Them for a while, and it looks cool as hell. This thing looks like it has a lot of use cases, and it is just as much of an offensive weapon and a defensive one, but having any defensive weapons at all in a Doom game is just unusual. It sticks out. But for as much as we're trying to remain skeptical of the whole thing until we get our hands on it ourselves, it does look sick as hell. So from the footage we've seen, parries and deflects look pretty forgiving, which is good because the battles here just look more chaotic than ever, really. Enemies look like they've gone fully like bullet hell or Returnal coded with their attack patterns that you have to kind of strafe and weave your way around. The attacks and the projectiles
more
that
tactical
can be deflected are pretty obvious. Anything that glows green looks like it can be parried, and everything else doesn't work, which leads to some creative stuff like these bullet patterns where only one thing is green. So it's just as much about positioning as
But you
it
can
is
still
about
block,
timing.
though. Even if you're
Now,
not
having
parrying,
a
you can still
powerful
block.
Shield completely changes how you'll approach the game. And with the new, more grounded movement mechanics, it should make for a game that is, if nothing else, more mechanically consistent compared to Doom Eternal. The Dark Ages shouldn't need to stop and explain what an enemy's weakness is with a pop-up every time you encounter a new one, because their weaknesses are
look at that
always
shotgun.
the same. Blocking, parrying, and deflecting. If it's green, it seems like it's basically going to be a weakness. Now, next at number 8, there is a dedicated melee
I can't wait.
Seems like it's going along with the whole medieval Doom thing. You don't just have the shield, but 3 distinct melee weapons that can be used with the press of a button. This isn't like your weak-ass little punches in Doom Eternal. These things hit really hard.
I remember
from
this
the footage
stage.
that we've seen
This
out
stage
there.
was a pain in the ass to
They've
maneuver
got their
through.
own combos and upgrades that each make them unique weapons in their own right. There's the flail, which is probably the most all-arounder melee weapon that has surprisingly long reach. The electrified gauntlets, which are super fast. And then the spiked mace, which is slow.
Did you guys notice this? Hold on, let's go back for a second. Yeah, so do you guys notice this droplets in the middle here? I wonder what that signifies. I wonder if you have, maybe like every time you block, you have a cooldown to be able to use it again. Or something. Right? Something like that, probably.
The electrified gauntlets, which are super fast. And then the spiked mace, which is slow, but it looks like it hits like a dump truck. All 3 of these things
wait, that's
just look
probably a
fun and hard
dash.
to use, and it's nice to have some kind of melee option that is actually effective in case you end up running out of ammo. Hopefully, they're not as stingy with
These
the
guys
bullets
look like
this
it could be a
time
pain
around,
in the
but
ass
at least
here.
you have some powerful backup weapons if you find yourself without shotgun shells or whatever else.
Yo, how sick that is. Look at this gun. Look at this gun right
Next
here.
at number 7, while many classic Doom without shotgun
Look,
shells, or
it has a
whatever
skull
else.
and it just
Next at
shreds
number
the skull
7,
and
while
shoot it.
many classic Doom guns are returning for the Dark Ages, almost everything is getting reworked and revamped. The only things staying the same, at least according to the game's director, Hugo Martin, are the shotgun and the super shotgun. They look pretty much exactly the same as they've always looked and seem to be pretty much exactly what you'd expect, which is good. We love them. If
Was
it
that
ain't
a
broke,
time
don't fix it.
reverse?
There's a lot of legitimately new guns this time around, though. Stuff like the Skull Crusher, a shotgun machine gun hybrid thing that grinds up skulls.
I can't wait till I'm
fires
shooting
shards
skull
out in an
at demons.
unpredictable blast, kind of like a super fast flak gun or something. It's absurd that like this thing looks like it's shredding through enemies in the trailers. Another one is the new rail spike, a precision weapon that fires these massive rods that
Was
hit
that
enemies
new?
to walls, like kind of like the nail gun from Fear. And another weapon is the reverse shot. This is a bizarre melee weapon gun.
I'm not sure that gun is new. I thought that gun was in Eternal. Maybe I'm misremembering.
Hybrid that fires a ball and chain that gets stronger the longer you charge it up. Now, the trailers have revealed returning classics that look very different this time around, like the plasma gun that has 2 barrels or the medieval cannon rocket launcher. They even brought back the DS, only this time it looks like it's some kind of weird crossbow.
What? Oh my god!
But that sound combined with the green
Yo,
effect,
that looks
that's why we
fire,
think it's
guys.
definitely
Oh my
gonna be
god.
It's obvious. That's not even all the weapons revealed so far. Like we don't know how different all the old weapons will be, but the new weapons that they've shown off so far just look unique and interesting as additions to the equipment roster. And we're excited to see what else they got when the game drops.
Oh man, we got an ad.
Next at number 6, now to talk about what is, at least according to the
I've been thinking that maybe I should get YouTube Premium because I watch YouTube all day and it's like I don't want to have ads, man. Like I just want to watch, right?
previews that we've seen, one of the more controversial changes in the Dark Ages, you know how glory kills used to work? You know, enemies would flash blue and orange and you'd press a button and eviscerate them in a spectacular fashion with this cool canned execution animation. They were and are satisfying as hell.
Yeah, that was
They're
pretty
changing
cool.
pretty significantly with this new game, but we don't know exactly if it's for the better yet. In the Dark Ages, you still execute enemies after stunning them, but the big change here is that you no longer get like locked into an animation. So you're free to move around while the glory
Really?
still plays out. As a consequence, the animations themselves are just a lot less visceral and over the top and cool this time around.
Right, because they're not
wouldn't blame you
scripted
for
animations.
seeing them on screen and like assuming that they just took them out entirely. A lot of those animations are hard to really read as glory kills at all. Now, their biggest reason for changing the system seems like it's simple. According to id Software, the developers,
to gun shield play with execution without interrupting your demon slaying momentum.
And with the bigger enemy counts, having to run around
I guess that makes sense.
all these canned animations constantly would just get in the way of the gameplay, would interrupt things too much. It would feel too stop and start. Look, I get where they're coming from. That makes sense to me when I hear it from their mouths.
It kind of does.
They're wrong. Look, the whole canned animation close-up takedown thing does feel a little played out or old-fashioned at this point, but you can't deny the original glory kill system was just extremely satisfying. It's part of that Doom power fantasy. Bigger, tougher enemies will have more traditional kill animations, but it sounds like for standard enemies, glory kills just aren't as impressive this time around. Again, we'll judge it. We'll see how it feels when we get the game in our actual hands.
that was badass.
But for now, we're just kind of gonna wait and see.
So
Next at number 5, one
thing I'm thinking about, why not have? What if they have like some glory kills in like some of like the more elite enemies that are like scripted sequences? That could be fun.
The guys at id have made very clear is that the levels in this game are going to be big, and not just that, they're going to be open. Apparently, these are the largest spaces id Software has ever made.
Ooh, that's good.
And they're claiming that it's kind of practically sandbox light, giving you a lot of opportunities to explore and find secrets and upgrades and just engage with levels which are apparently aiming to be around 1 hour long. Awesome level design is a staple of the Doom game, so it's good to hear that they're leaning into that even more this time with like less linear, more complex stages. And don't worry, traditional elements are still around, like ye old medieval key cards. Yes, even in the Dark Ages, it seems like I guess people still used color key cards here. They're not even just straight up keys, they're actually still the cards. One thing I was initially worried about was level variety. Was it just gonna be a bunch of the Argent levels from Doom Eternal stitched together? Well, from watching all the pre-release information and everything out there, it's thankfully not that. They're really trying here to make a lot of
this looks nice
levels with like war-torn battlefields. We've seen glowing palaces, hell fortresses, and most intriguing of all, some excursions into the cosmic realm, which is inserting some kind of Lovecraftian cosmic horror into the Doomverse. I'm really curious to see how far they're going to push that part. Anyway, there are apparently 22 total levels planned, which sounds just about right. It's not quite the 32 of the original Doom, but most of those levels took like 5 to 10 minutes to clear, which is a little bit shorter than an hour a level they're kind of aiming for in the Dark Ages, which could end up
that gun looks bad. Look at that.
On how thorough you want to be with exploring them.
Oof.
Now at number 4,
I wonder what that gun's gonna do. Massive explosion.
Another thing that's got Doom fans kind of curious, maybe concerned, is how much the pre-release material is pushing the story this time around. The Doom series is notoriously kind of light on plot, or at least in the front end. And the introduction of things like story elements and cutscenes into Doom Eternal is still pretty divisive among the fan base. The general consensus
I thought they were
is
good.
that Doom 2016 had the right amount of story for a Doom game. Enough to let you know what's happening and make you feel cool and know what you should be doing, but not enough that it really gets in the way of everything. The Dark Ages is decidedly not doing Doom 2016 again. It's got full-on like bombastic story cutscenes.
Hey, I'm all up for it, man.
It's got actual characters and talking and everything. It might end up being too much, or it might actually be really cool. Who can say right now? But there's definitely going to be more story this time, for better or for worse. Now, one part of this more...
Did you feel the breaker issue? I had the breaker, but I still need to go to Ace Hardware, so that's going to be on the weekend. Because I don't know if I can cut that cable and just put the breaker itself. I can't do it without getting the information. But it should be fixed by Friday. And you know what? I'm thinking during nighttime there's no problem because it's not as hot. So I'm hoping that, by Saturday I can get it fixed. But we'll see. Again, I already bought it. I just need to make sure that I can do that.
More event-focused storytelling that does sound cool is that there's going to be some legit set-piece moments here where you can do things like pilot a flying dragon thing and pilot one of those.
Dude, I can't wait, man.
That were literal all over the place in Eternal. In my opinion,
next week,
that stuff looks cool as hell. So I guess we'll see how that goes.
next week. That's it.
Have you seen this?
Oh,
It's
another ad.
absolutely insane.
Hey,
Look at the presentation on what's inside this can.
hey,
Now, at number
Raika,
3, multiplayer
YouTube Premium.
is
What do you think? Yay or
It took
nay?
a while to finally get to this point. You know, remember how Doom 2016, they were almost advertising the mediocre multiplayer and level creator thing more than the actual campaign mode? That was crazy.
I don't
And then
remember
Doom
that.
Eternal had that asynchronous multiplayer mode where you played demons versus Slayer, which actually wasn't that bad. But the real draw was, once again, the single player. So
Yeah,
now
I think
in the
so. I
Dark
don't think
Ages,
Doom
it seems like they
PvP
get
is
it.
that
They're sticking
interesting
what
to
they
me.
do best, and multiplayer is out completely. The developers wanted to focus on just making a good, solid single
Oh, that's that gun. That gun that we saw earlier. It just shoots a cannonball, and then you return it back.
player campaign, and it looks like that's what they did here. According to the game's director, they didn't want to turn it into a live service.
Oh, okay,
which
no
is
multiplayer. All
Ultimately,
right.
what you kind of have to do anymore, it seems like, if you're making a multiplayer mode. You can't just make a multiplayer mode anymore and just drop it into the world and then call it a day. Players expect these things to be supported, and the
Yeah,
guys at
I
id
agree with
Software
that.
seems like they just didn't want to dedicate that many resources to it, and hopefully all the effort really just spent on the campaign will be worth it. Now, at number
Dude.
2, you remember the Marauder? Of course you do. Everyone hated that guy. It was a huge pain in
The
the
Marauder-
ass that essentially broke some of the rules
Yeah.
of the game to make itself a real nuisance. And
Yo, quick story. That Marauder, that motherfucker on Doom
now,
Eternal.
number
Where is
2,
it? Where
you
is he?
remember the
Where's
Marauder?
this guy?
Of course you do. Everyone hated that guy.
Where's
It
this
was
guy?
A huge pain
Come on.
in the ass that essentially broke some of the
Bro, that guy in Doom Eternal, I was fighting him. I think he killed me like 30 times before I was able to kill him. I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you guys remember that, but I almost quit the game fighting this guy. I had to look up a video on how to kill him because I just didn't know what to do. And then once I got the gist of it, it was easy. But man, getting to that point, I was frustrated.
rules of the game to make itself
But now with the parry system, it might not be as bad. Because that was part of the problem, right? So now that you can parry and shit, that would probably be a little easier to deal with. I guess once we get into the game, we'll find out.
a real nuisance. And it's coming back, at least in a way, in the Dark Ages. A new enemy is filling the tough guy with a shield archetype this time around, and it's called the Agadon Hunter. It only appeared briefly in the trailers, but Hugo Martin supplied more details in an interview with Games Radar. They wanted this thing to be a similar kind of difficulty.
Speaking of Doom the Dark Ages, project director Hugo Martin to the producer Martin Stratton for our upcoming print issue 408, 396 in the US. I had a ask about the Marauder, the infamous blah, 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 with the Dark Ages equivalent. Ragnar, what the heck did you do? Oh my God. You scared me, Ragnar. With the Dark Ages equivalent enemy, Martin Stratton hoped will offer a similar memorable challenge with that doesn't catch players off guards to the same extent.
Spike.
Okay.
An enemy that is just like a one-on-one challenge with the Doomslayer who can stand and
Yo, my dog literally opened the door by himself. Ad blocker still works for me, not for YouTube Premium. Which ad blocker are you using? Because it doesn't work for me.
fight at your level. It's got projectile attacks, it's got a shield that protects it from damage, and some aggressive combos that have to be deflected in sequence in order to stun him like a Souls game boss almost. Yes, this is one of those games where one deflect isn't enough to stop certain tough bosses. You have to perfectly parry an entire long sequence of attacks. This guy sounds tough, but Martin explains that the difference between the Marauder and the Hunter is that with the Marauder, it was basically asking players to do something different from what they were used to doing the entire game, which led to some frustration and some confusion. You had to do something new, and you had to execute it perfectly.
Similar to what I would
With
like to
the
use it, but I don't
Hunter,
use
it still
Twitch anymore.
requires a lot of skill.
Yeah, I'm not watching Twitch as much as I used to either. Every time I'm on Twitch, I'm trying to stream, or I just watch like a little bit of Asmon or something like that. But I haven't really been too into watching streamers anymore. I still catch clips here and there, and actually I catch more like VODs on YouTube. Like I always got YouTube playing on the background when I'm at work and shit.
To beat, but the things they're asking you to do is stuff that the game has been training you on endlessly leading up to this point. So even if this guy is tough, you've been training the entire game up to this point to fight him. And hopefully it's one way that the more unified, less complex combat system in the Dark Age might actually be an improvement. Now down at number 1, the housekeeping. Of course, Doom: The Dark Ages is officially launching on May 15th, 2025, with the usual assortment of collector's editions and...
Bro, this is what we're getting, guys. This right here, that's what we're getting. We're gonna unbox it. We're gonna display it. My first collectible in the new room. I am so excited. I am so excited. The game looks good. Yes, the game looks insane. Right, guys, this game... I am getting so hyped to play this game. I need to calm down, man. I need to calm down. I will have fun with the game. It's supposed to arrive on Friday, which means I should have more than ample time to play during the early access period, which is gonna be awesome.
Special editions, and they're doing the usual early access thing. Like if you get the premium or collector's edition, you get to play the game 2 days early. Now, Bethesda may be owned by Microsoft now, but the game is at least getting the full multi-platform support suite, launching day and date on PC, Xbox Series X and S, and PlayStation 5 and PS5 Pro. It's a full first
also in Game Pass, by the way.
It's also coming out day 1 on Game
Yeah, so if you got Game Pass, you don't have to buy the game. You just pay for 1 month.
Pass for the price of that subscription, so that's an option. And to end this with more good news, the embargo on the game is lifting May 9th, so press reviews...
May 9th? In 2 days, there's no embargo in this game? What? We're gonna see reviews?
Content creator reviews are probably going up early, which is a nice policy change after years of Bethesda kind of only allowing reviews to go up like the day their games came out. At least now you can get some more opinions before the game drops and before you even commit to buying it. So yeah, good stuff. But those are 10 things you need to know about the upcoming Doom: The Dark Ages. Let us know what you're thinking about this game. Anything at all, any thoughts down in the comments, hit us up. Of course, keep your eyes peeled for my before you buy video. I'll be talking about the game once we get our hands on it. But for now, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.
This game is gonna be so good. Anyways, I just wanted to